ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the...
DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and welcome. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Midday Market Report with good friends, colleagues, Mr. Matt Grissom, Quentin Mills, the NCAA insiders, blessed and honored for year number 4. I've been with them since day one, and it's joking backstage, of course, because they're getting pulled from every direction, whether it's VSiN, this, that, Ariel, who knows. Hey guys, if you need an agent, I'm here. I'll start booking for you. So anyways, shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. And of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Head on over there, use the promo code MEMORIAL, get 12 free beef Angus hamburgers with a sale of $3.49 or more. Today's headline, I thought I was cute. What's brewing in your NCAA brackets? And I've seen a lot obviously on social media. UCLA kind of the box to wire number 1. Here comes Georgia Tech and a few others. But seen some brackets, and a lot of people got Tech up there to knock them off. Last time I checked on DK, both at plus 400 to win it all. But let's bring them in. Mr. Matt Grissom and Quentin Mills. What's up, boys?
Christmas Eve, Jeff. Can't be more excited, fired up to be here. How are we doing?
We get pulled in all directions. We always have time for Mr. Dawson.
Amen.
Well, I know Mr. Grissom has another show. He's got a heart out in 18 minutes. I do want to say something, though. Last Thursday or Friday when we were on, now I'm not saying we moved numbers, but we did give out Florida plus 3,500 to win it all. And on Monday, DraftKings, they were plus 1,900. We didn't just move numbers. We kind of created an earthquake there.
They're watching the show.
Yeah.
Matt,
that's it.
Matt, I already know you're upset with your seating. I guess there was a couple that were not good. We had Nick on Tuesday, so we'll start there, and then we'll go through the brackets, of course. I guess the big leave out was Mercer, but a couple of teams kind of got screwed, and I think you think Arkansas is one of them?
Yeah, and not so much their draw. It's more Kansas's draw. They got screwed. They were winners of the Big 12. They wiped through the conference tournament, and they got the 15 seed behind Starkville, who probably should have been 16, behind Lincoln and Nebraska, probably should have been 15. Like, what are we doing? Eugene is 11 at Oregon. And, yeah, they turned it on through the Big 12 tournament. They had a great season. But the 11 seed behind the Big 12 champs, second or third best team in the Big 10 in baseball versus the Big 12 champs being better, I don't think so. I think that's where it started to collapse for Arkansas is because they were going to go to Lawrence if they weren't going to host, which that's a whole other thing we could get into. But Lawrence being 15, Morgantown being 16 is an absolute joke, in my opinion.
Q?
I agree. I think Kansas got screwed. I think North Carolina got screwed. Listen, they split ECU early on the season. Now ECU's had some injuries on the pitching side, but nonetheless, in that third game before a rain call, they were tied 3-3. Then you get a Tennessee team who started figuring things out towards the back half of the season. Josh Elanders won a national title there as an assistant. He understands what it's like. VCU was a 4 seed. A lot of people thought you could have justified as a 3 seed the way they finished at the end of the season as well. And then remember, Matt put the ultimate jinx on them last year, told them it was 2-Q when they put up 15 against Arizona, and they collapsed at home. At home, all right? This is a team that is susceptible to lose at home. Not saying it's going to happen this year. I'm just saying you gave them an extremely tough region once again as a top 5 host, which is pretty egregious in my opinion, but we'll see how it plays out.
Guys, we've been doing this, as I said, for 4 years. And I could go back the first 3 years to this Thursday when we're going through the brackets. And I know the following Thursday for the super regionals and then to get to Omaha, we're sitting there because there are upsets and there are upsets. You could stare at this till the cows come home. And then you're shaking your head next week with, how did this happen? I know it's baseball. It's a metal bat. It's a round ball. It's going to happen again this year, right, Q?
Absolutely. Last year it was Texas. Tennessee has had it happen to them in 22. Obviously, Arkansas was at 21, Matt. 2019 as well, I think, in the NC State Supers. So you look at all these different teams and they're number 1, 2, 3 seed, and you're like, oh, they're a lock. And then you turn around and you're like, UTSA beat who? You know, and it just happens all the time. Nobody thought Coastal was going to beat Auburn in Auburn last year. They ended up going to the College World Series finals. So what we think might only play out 80% of the way, and then we're left at 20% shock.
Matt, I'm going to go to you. Brackets. I'm staring at them right now. I got this huge monster of one pulled up over here, unfortunately. The favorites, UCLA, Georgia Tech, plus 400. You got to get through the regionals to get to the super regionals. And then only 8 teams make it to Omaha, where you guys will be doing jello shots, chicken tenders, and rubbing elbows with Derek and all that. We'll be doing live shoots like we did last year. But, Matt, taking an overall look at the brackets, give me 1 or 2 upset alerts before we start breaking this down.
Well, I think Jacksonville State is a compelling one to come out of the Hattiesburg Regional. They really didn't get a great draw being at Southern Miss and the 2 seed, but Virginia, come on. As Q can attest, I don't think Virginia is that good this year. Their biggest test getting past Southern Miss, though, it's going to be really for the mid-major people, the people that want to see like the coastal type run. You have 2 of the best mid-majors in the same regional, so that kind of sucks. And then for Georgia and Georgia Tech, both being on the same side of the bracket, I feel like they're probably the best 2 teams outside of UCLA this year. And the same thing happened last year with Arkansas and LSU. They were the best 2 teams in the country. Unfortunately, they got put in the same bracket, and unfortunately, the same thing happens. They're not going to have an all-Georgia final. So our site actually likes Georgia or Georgia Tech combined 57% of the time they are in the championship game. And then on the other side, you've got basically UCLA, Florida, or Auburn coming out of that side. So when you look across the landscape of it, I want upsets, but at the end of the day, the best teams. They've kind of proven that year in and year out. This is more of like your round 1 in March Madness of, okay, yeah, a 13 beat a 4, but then it kind of all the cream rises to the top, because at the end of the day, it's not just one game. They've got to take the whole regional. So maybe bet it for an upset game by game with Jacksonville State. But I think Southern Miss ends up coming out of that, but who knows? Could change.
And Matt, I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but I remember that conversation last year, a year ago. The winner of the LSU Arkansas series was, I was going to say cut the nets down, of course, but that was your team to win it all. And you almost got that same scenario, which is scary this year, Georgia Tech or Georgia. Q, what do your eyes see?
I think Matt said it best. The one side of the bracket is just absolute wagons. The other side is what could be. Auburn, Florida, UCLA, like they all have some inconsistencies that, Matt, myself, and some other guys are like, well, they do this, but maybe they don't do this as well. Or, hey, they play with their food or whatever. But if they put it all together, they can win the whole title. So it's kind of the what could be and then just the straight wagons on the other side, which is kind of interesting to see that they're not mixed up. So you'll see what side of the fight wins, which I think will be kind of interesting this year. He talked about Jacksonville State. I'm going to give you a pick that a lot of people disagreed with, but Matt and I were texting about it this morning. Kentucky. A lot of people didn't think that they could be in. 2024, myself included, I didn't think they could make a run. They did it, and they shocked the world. This year, they have nothing to lose. They go in and they go 0-2. Oh, this should have been there. It is what it is. You forget about them. Or they go in there with a team that's healthy for the first time. I mean, Matt and I interviewed Mingione the other week, and he was like, hey, we haven't had a lineup since opening day, and now we do. You get a healthy Nate Harris, a good Ben Cleaver. You get a stud in Jackson Jelkin, who's just a dog on the mound. I look at, like, West Virginia, very solid team. They're able to be beat. I look at Wake Forest. Okay, Chris Lavonis. He's really what they have, and then it's kind of a drop-off from the pitching side. Now, they do have a good offense, but Matt and I were talking about it. I just took Kentucky plus 130. It seems like Kentucky plays their best ball against the hardest competition. So for a team that's a dark horse to advance, sure, give me the Wildcats.
Crutch bets, it's always the teams that don't deserve to get in that get on that run. I know
Florida, 2024. A lot of people never said they should have got in. They go to them all.
All right, Mr. Grissom, I'm going to let you take your brackets. You can move us through. Again, I got this huge wonky one that's in the 2 or 3 pieces. I'm up top with the LA bracket, Atlanta, Morgantown, Lawrence, Hattiesburg, Tallahassee. Take it away.
Yeah, you should use the one on our website, collegebaseballinsiders.com. If you go to the NCAA tournament tab, it's all nice and easy there for you. 1 verse 16, 2 verse 15. But I digress. Let's go to Tuscaloosa and talk about the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. 48.6% chance that they come out of this regional, according to our website. 38% chance for Alabama. Quad 1 records, 15-15 for Bama, 10-12 for Oklahoma State. These are 0-6 for USC Upstate, 0-5 for Alabama State. So we're really talking about 2 teams here. And give me the hotter team. Oklahoma State has been absolutely crushing it here as of late. Alabama 7-3 in their last 10. Oklahoma State 7-3 over their last 10. But when you look at the information, the stats, play-by-play, over the last 10 games, which is the streak here, Oklahoma State is top 5 in pitching and top 3 in offense. I think the production, what they're doing, Josh Holiday's got to get to Omaha at some point. I think this could be the year they can beat. Who are they playing? I just lost it.
Alabama.
No, not Alabama State. No, they do play Alabama State in the first game.
Yeah, but they're in the Alabama region.
Or
yeah.
USC Upstate. Okay. USC Upstate, Oklahoma State, first game. Sorry, I'm confusing myself. They Ethan Lund. They could throw Stormy Rhodes. They could throw Hudson Barrett. Somebody is going to be okay there. They get to Alabama. Do they take Ethan Lund and throw him against Tyler Fay? Maybe. Can you remind me what happened to Tyler Fay in his last outing? I think the Florida Gators jumped on him. I don't like where this Alabama team is. Give me Oklahoma State to come out of Tuscaloosa.
Q?
I'm with them there. I think Okie State is the side to be on. I took it as a future.
I do it every year,
everything
and I feel like they're going to burn me.
Yeah. Listen, they can't play well at home, so send them on the road. It can't get any worse.
I think the same thing for Ole Miss in Lincoln.
I love Ole Miss.
44.3% chance to move on. Nebraska's 29.3, Arizona's 25. You've got like a cluster right there. As long as Hunter Elliott or whoever they throw in game one can match Cole Carlone, Arizona State's bullpen is terrible. Like Arizona State could be up 5-0 through 7 innings, and Carlone gets pulled. Ole Miss is still alive to win that game. I've seen it half a dozen times where Carlone's get a blown lead by the bullpen. So
Ole Miss is the deepest pitching staff in that entire
Ole Miss
region.
for sure, relying on the pitching. Hats off to Nebraska. I think you had a great season, but I don't think you have a chance to get out of here on regional.
Q, I'm going to save the Gainesville for after when Matt departs. Chapel Hill, UNC, Tennessee, Austin, Texas, and Holy Cross, College Station, A&M, USC, Texas State. The Oregon one is so when I had Nick on, Ole Miss plus 170 looked like the play, okay? But the whole world's on Oregon State beating Oregon in Eugene. Thoughts there, Q?
I'm not sold on this Oregon team. I watched them struggle against Washington and Penn State after Penn State came across the country. And listen, Penn State's just ass. I mean, let's just call it what it is. And they struggled in all 3 games. Okay? You got to call it how it is. But when I look at Oregon State, they lose their guy in Dax Whitney, but they still have Ethan Kleinschmidt. They still have Eric Segura. They have a couple other guys in the bullpen there. Not the best offense, but Oregon's offense isn't like this elite Georgia Tech or Georgia team either. And then I look at the pitching side of it. They're not elite, in my opinion. Oregon State went from being a top 8 seed to now a number 2 with the single injury of Dax Whitney. They wouldn't have done that if Dax was still healthy, in my opinion. So now they have something to prove. I believe they split or took it 2-1 this year to Oregon in the regular season. So what is Oregon State planning to lose for? Like they lose, we didn't have our guy, we'll regroup, whatever. Or you go in a storyline, we lost our guy and we beat our rival. All right. I like Oregon State. They have the better pitching in the regional. They're close to home. They're still going to have faithful fans travel to Eugene. So give me the Beavers. Texas, you mentioned them. They're not going to get embarrassed 2 years in a row. Schlossnagle won't have that. If he gets run out of town back-to-back regionals, the guy might have to pack his bags and leave to the nearest airport. And then you gave me one other. Chapel Hill, I do think UNC does get it out. But as I mentioned, I do think it's a little tougher than people realize.
Q, Oregon State Beavers 2-3 in quad 1 games. 2-3.
Whatever.
Oregon's 12-10, 27-5 at home.
Tell me Oregon's Georgia State too, or Georgia Tech.
Maybe more Georgia State than Georgia Tech.
Exactly.
I'm not seeing it. Better RPI, better strength of schedule.
We'll see.
Better quad 1 record, better stats across the board.
It's good for the show. Jeff told me to be opposite of you.
Mr. Grissom, you got 2 minutes until we meet again next week. Any parting thoughts? Teams to get to Omaha, and I'm going to put you on the spot. The championship matchup and who wins?
If I'm picking a champion right now, I think I've got to go Georgia just because I want the parity to come down to Georgia Tech in Omaha. I think that would be appointment television. I think it's going to be very similar to Arkansas LSU last year. On the other side, I think it's Florida. UCLA is going to get to Omaha. I think their path is way too easy. Like maybe if Kentucky gets hot or Wake like really pitches well, or West Virginia picks up their offense, maybe they can push them. But they're so good at Jackie Robinson Stadium. They've, despite being down 3.5 runs per what they're averaging on the season over the last 10 games, they're averaging 3.5 runs less. This is an offense that just doesn't care. It's a pitching staff that I don't know if Logan Redeman, their ace, is hurt or if they've really been resting him for 3 or 4 weeks. In my opinion, you don't let your ace get out of form by resting him. I want to fade UCLA, but I don't know where. And it's not a knock against UCLA. Our goal is to try to identify the chalky plays and tell you don't bet those because of this. So, yeah, you're the short shot to win it. I am going to talk bad about you because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to highlight your flaws. Georgia Tech, I used to say it was their pitching staff. The metrics are now in the top 25 in Sierra. Tate McKee, Mesa Patel, they've got a good pitching staff now. Now, is it sustainable, and are they an SEC school? Because those are the two things that have kind of decided who wins it all. No. Georgia has. They're an SEC school. So I'll leave you with that. I think Georgia wins it all. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we get a Florida-Georgia championship, in all honesty.
Go knock it out of the park. We'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you, Jeff. See you later.
Yep. Matt Grissom, go follow him at Grissom. Of course, NCAA Insiders. Check out their website, the best in the business, and he is correct. Everything's right there in front of him. At M. Grissom, of course, there. Question, so I'm going to let you start here. The Canes is hot and horny at you. Tell me the reason why Florida beats Miami.
I'll tell you why, because Kevin O'Sullivan owns Miami. And that guy knows it. He's always in our chat. I love Canes. No, in all seriousness, there is a lot of success for Florida against Miami. Here's the thing. Daniel Cuvée has already been listed out. He's one of their better bats. They do have some guys like Alex Sosa and some other guys like that. The freshman, I'm drawing a blank. All these players are running together. The kid behind the plate, Van Sheehan can get a little streaky. But anyways, Florida, when they're healthy, is a very good team. All right, they're a preseason team. That offense is clicking. Brennan Lawson's hitting the ball. Blake Sears murdering the ball. Ethan Sarowik is driving the ball. Oh, by the way, this kid named Cade McDonald looks like the Jack Connie right now coming off the bench. He can pitch. He can hit the long ball. He can do it all. All right, they're getting confidence. Hayden Yost had 3 home runs his entire career. He's up to 10, and 7 of them have been over the last 3 weeks. They're just playing very good baseball right now. Now, is that sustainable? To be seen. Then you look at the pitching side. They're healthy again. You've got this guy named Aiden King, SEC Pitcher of the Year. Sal on the mound. You've got Liam Peterson. They bump him to Saturday. He started fixing his location issues. He's looked dominant his last 3 or 4 starts. Hopefully that stays the same. Russell Sandifer, one of the better Sunday guys in the country. He gets hit with a comebacker the other day. He's trying to stay in the game. Pull him out precautionary. That's a Sunday guy that was throwing heat, mid-90s. Against Georgia, stifling him. He had a 6-run lead. Florida wins that game if he stays healthy. Then we go to the bullpen. You got Jackson Barbary, one of the best mid-relievers in the entire college baseball atmosphere. Then you have Josh Rittenauer, a dude that throws 101, just straight gas right by you. You've got Luke McNeely, Caden McDonald, like I mentioned. If Florida's healthy and Florida's playing good, confident baseball, they can beat anybody in the country. That's why Miami doesn't get out of this regional. Nothing against Miami. They're just running up against a juggernaut right now.
Crutch Bets thinks if Paulie can slide by Renfro, they can outpitch the Bruins.
Yeah, Renfro's been hit this year. Cal Poly's got a decent offense. Renfro's looked good down the stretch, but he is susceptible. UCLA, Jeff, I think I've told you 3 or 4 times over the last several weeks, they play with their food. It's a light switch, right? I got one right here. We just flip it on and off in the 8th inning. We win the game, go home, right? Well, that's great when you're playing the West Coast teams in the Big Ten. But then when you go against a Texas, an Auburn, a Georgia Tech, your luck's going to run out. All right? You're going to go hit that switch and the light bulb doesn't turn on. It's burnout. And that's what it is. You do that mentality and you play with your food too long, you're going to get caught slipping. And that's why I think they'll get to Omaha, like Matt said, but I think that they could slip up here.
Auburn, any threat there? UCF, NC State, Milwaukee?
Yeah, I do think so. I think, I think Auburn's a threat. I don't think anybody in there is a threat in terms of their region. I just think their pitching. It's probably top 3 staff in the country. All right. I mean, they're not. You're just not hitting the ball on them. Their offense is a little streaky, but like NC State, I don't think should have got in my opinion. UCF is a decent team, but they just don't have the horses to really bat up against that pitching staff that Auburn has. Auburn only has to score a few runs a game to really win. So I don't see anybody really testing Auburn in the regional. I think Auburn will meet their tests in the super regional and potentially in Omaha, where they have similar pitching matchups and teams out of the SEC and whatever that can bat with them.
Georgia, we talked about Mississippi State, Lipscomb, Cincinnati, Louisiana. Any concern in the regional there?
I'm waiting to see who Cincy's pitching. They have this guy named Nate Taylor. He's one of the best Friday night guys in the country. If they can somehow against Louisiana, and again, I don't have this information, but if they can pitch off and then they save Nate Taylor theoretically against Mississippi State, things could certainly get interesting. Mississippi State has a great offense. They have Tomas Valencias coming on the Friday guy, so I would think they're going to pitch off for the game one, but they've been susceptible. All right, Brian O'Connor's team started really hot this year. Then they get swept 2 or 3 weeks in a row. Then they get really hot and go on a 10-game winner, and then they start falling back, right? So what Mississippi State team are we getting? Are we getting that hot team, or are we getting that ice cold? There's really no in between with them. So ultimately, I do think Mississippi State gets out of it, but I think Cincy can make it a little interesting.
The College Station bracket, A&M, Lamar, USC, and Texas State. Any threat for the Aggies?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Texas State is very familiar with the Aggies. They're very familiar with Texas. They always play each other. Same with Lamar. Lamar has a good offense. Pitching staff, if they're pitching above expectations, they could give anybody trouble. Same with Texas State. Like I said, they're familiar with these guys. They beat them before. They beat them last year, 2 games. So there's no reason why the Aggies just think they can walk through it. I'm not saying they do. I'm just posing that's a tough bracket for them, especially considering their pitching issues they've had this year. They can hit the ball lights out. They have some dudes on that squad, but if you can score 9, you got to limit a team to 8 or less, right? I don't know if they can do that consistently. Those teams can score, they can hit the ball and give A&M some troubles.
Let me see. TGH_3316. BBN in the house. The Bat Cats have the 3rd best odds of 3 seeds to win their regional at +475.
That's our guy, Todd Harris. He gave us a good time and hosted us in Lexington. So for all that you guys know, Todd's a great friend of the show. And I'm glad he's tuning in to your show, Jeff. No, I agree with him. I said that earlier. Kentucky is one of those teams that they are playing free and loose baseball, nothing to lose, right? The media hates them being there. So if they win, they're kind of the villain, right? And that's, I think, sometimes what they want to be. A lot of people call them Bush League for how they act, and they're just out there chirping and jawing, and that's their style of baseball. So, I think that plays into their hand. If they lose, it is a tough bracket. West Virginia's good, Wake's good, but at +475, what's a quarter of a unit? That's a good bet right there.
He follows up with the best shot for a 1-seed upset to lose their regional: Kansas, Alabama, Texas. Biggest surprise upset potential: West Virginia, Nebraska, Southern Miss.
Texas was the only one. He sent me that earlier. Texas, I don't think gets embarrassed back-to-back years, but Matt and I have already talked about the Alabama, the Kansas. We both think Okie State and Arkansas will advance there. West Virginia, certainly if they won, it's, we see that coming. They're a good ball club, but could I see that upset there? Absolutely. Nebraska, thanks for hosting. It's been real. We're moving on, figuring out where we're playing next kind of deal, right? If you're in that. In my opinion, Ole Miss. And then Southern Miss does have a really tough bracket as the 9 seed. Jackson State is no fit. Virginia's offense has been really good this year. They just can't pitch. If they can find some pitching, they could give some trouble. But ultimately, Southern Miss is playing really good baseball. I do think they advance. Listen, Hattiesburg is one of the toughest places to play. Dudes getting banged up in the parking lot, having a blast, just living life. That's a bucket list stadium, and for various reasons, and I think they get it done there at Hattiesburg.
Hey, Q, Tallahassee. Of last year, this would have been an eye raiser, but Florida State, St. John's, Northeastern, Coastal. Coastal is leaking severe oil, but they are the runner ups. They lost to LSU last year in Omaha. Any chance the light switch goes on and they can advance?
Yeah, I think there's a shot, right? I mean, everybody doubts Coastal. They did last year, and they go and they become the finals, right? Everybody in 2016 doubted Coastal. What'd they do? They won the national title. This is a mid-major program that is not unfamiliar with upsetting big-time teams. They've done it. They've beat the best, and they don't care where they play. Remember, they beat Auburn in Auburn to advance to the College World Series. Oh, by the way, in 2016, they beat the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge. Okay, so they're not afraid to play on the road. They get they're a different team, but the mentality is the same each and every year. Kevin Schnall was on all of those teams. They, like you said, they're leaking oil. If they can come together and get the Cam Flukie from last year, if Luke Jones can continue to pitch well, Ross Norman, if the bats can pick it up, they have a shot to beat Florida State, who again is missing Miles Bailey, a guy that was a Golden Spikes talk of the town. So I ultimately think Florida State gets it done with their three-headed pitching staff that they have, and Bryson Moore, Wes Mendez, and Trey Beard. But to say that Coastal doesn't have a chance, I think would be egregious to say the least.
In Morgantown, West Virginia, Binghamton, Wake Forest, Kentucky, on the show Tuesday, what I saw from Monday night and Tuesday, the world's on Wake Forest. You and TGH talking about Kentucky here. Not a lot of people talking about West Virginia. Water gun to head, who advances there?
Probably West Virginia. They have three good pitchers. They're at their home ballpark. They can hit pretty well this year. I would say if you gave me another choice in second, it's going to be Kentucky. I think Chris Lavonis is an absolute stud, but then there's kind of a drop-off for me on the pitching staff after him, right? And you may have to go 3, 4, 5 game with minimum 3, upwards of 5. And I just don't know that they have the horses in the bullpen. The offense is there, but again, you got to score more runs than you give up. And I think if it came down to it, the only two teams that could really do that are Kentucky and West Virginia.
Couple minutes here left. We'll be back next Thursday, obviously, to talk about the super regionals and who do you think's getting to Omaha. But this is all pre-flop here. In pocket regional winners. In pocket some to make it to Omaha. And as I asked Matt, I'm going to ask you, who's in the championship and who wins?
All right, I got regional parlays. I parlayed Florida and Auburn at DraftKings. You can do that. Bet 365 lets you as well. Then I did a kind of a chalk. Georgia Tech, UCLA, Texas for just under minus 120. Regional winner, single plays, Ole Miss at plus 170. Okie State at plus 170. And then Florida State at minus 165. That is a hedge against my Coastal Carolina to make Omaha bet. So if you don't have a Coastal ticket, you could still take it if you like the Seminoles, or you could just hang off on that one. I'll even dabble here. I'll give you a Friday night bet. Tennessee money line against ECU. Evan Blanco's pitching against Ryan Towers. And then Kentucky money line plus 130. I think that they can beat Chris Lavonis. They've done it against too many pitchers this year. So that's a little pizza money there. Ultimately, I do think Georgia and Florida is your national title. We talked about the gauntlet side of Georgia Tech, Georgia, and yet that SEC bias, right? Well, that's not bias. That's evidence. It's factual history. SEC typically wins the national title. So that's why they advance over Georgia Tech on that side. And then you look at the Florida side. It's the Auburn, the UCLA, A&M potentially. Like Florida playing hot baseball can beat any of those teams. I talked about UCLA playing with their food. I think they get tripped up. As long as the Gators can play consistently, I think Florida could beat Georgia in the national championship. Jeff, they beat them 2-1 in Athens this year. They were up 6-0 in the SEC semifinals until their pitcher, who was absolutely dealing and had those guys lost, gets drilled in the arm. If he doesn't get hit, they win that game. You'll never convince me otherwise. They were down in the dumps. Then they caught that rain delay. Florida was already very deep in their bullpen. And Kevin O'Sullivan said, listen, I'm not throwing my aces any longer than they have to. I'm getting ready for the long haul, which is the NCAA tournament. So They should be 3-1. All right, that's the reality of it is, and I think the Gators can get it done and get Kevin O'Sullivan his second national title.
Well, again, last Thursday we gave that out at 35-1, already down to 19-1. There, an amazing show, guys. Everyone knows. Head on over to follow the crew here at M Grissom, of course, at Q Millies. That's 3 L's, 2 Y's. NCAA Insiders, the best website you'll ever see, especially this time of year. But as we always wrap this up, Q, tell them where to find your picks and everything else.
So you can find them at collegebaseballinsiders.com. The account is free. All the data, advanced data there is free. We do offer for $25. You can get our pretty famous regional, super regional, and College World Series guide. So that is a premium feature under the postseason hub. There is a bracket challenge. First place, $500. Second place, $250. Third place, $100. 3 winners. Easy cash. It's $10 entry. Sign up. Tell us who you think is going to win the national title. And potentially put some money in your pockets. And then when you do sign up for that premium selection on the postseason hub, you do get access to all of our plays. So it's Matt has put an incredible amount of effort into the site. We've put a ton of money into the site, investing in not only ourselves, but the fans and the sport itself. So please go check it out, share it, tell everybody, tell your grandmother, because she might be a degenerate like we are. And let's go win some money.
Shout out to Canes Cats Heat 305, Crutch Bets, and of course, TGH_3316. Go follow the boys. Catch them on VSiN and everywhere else. Ariel, everyone's jumping in now. As the regionals are this weekend, super regionals next weekend, and then Omaha after that. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, one and only, Quentin Mills at Q Millie, 3 L's, 2 Y's. Wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy yourself. Go over there. Put your money where your mouth is. $10. $10 can't even get you a cheeseburger and fry nowadays. Get a bracket. Get their picks. Enjoy the guide. The guide's second to none. Have some fun. And stay tuned.